This is a Flying Cow production.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Great Film Challenge. I am Clay Johnson, the Flying Cow himself, and here with me once again is my nephew Aaron. Aaron, how you doing?
Good.
It's been a while since we've gotten to do this.
Nah.
Yeah, I can't remember how long has it been 2 months?
Almost.
It's pretty close. Yeah, I gotta apologize. I think I might have mentioned that we might be, there might be times when we are not able to record as much. We're both in school in various ways.
Our schedules hate us. They don't like us recording podcasts.
Apparently not. Aaron is still in school. I am teaching at school and earning my master's at the same time. So, as you imagine, I have even less time than Aaron does.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had a really hard time syncing up schedules and finding the time to make this happen. And then on top of that, we get into record today and our mics decide not to work on us. So if we sound very different, we apologize. There's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, we are recording in my new space.
Yes.
Which, as of this recording, looks kind of like a garage. So not a lot of carpeting, not a lot of sound baffling or anything like that. So we probably sound a bit echoey. We apologize for that. But we are also having to use my old blue snowball to record this episode because it is literally the only mic that would register to my computer that I am working with. So I don't know if it's the computer's problem or a problem with the mics. I mean, they've literally just been, sitting in boxes since the last time we recorded. So I don't know what would have happened to them. But yeah, so we've been through a lot to bring this episode to you. And this isn't even a regular schedule episode. This is an off the list, actually.
Yeah.
So you're going to be getting this, on not our regular day. But it's when we had it's what we had planned. We initially intended this to come out the week after we released the Forrest Gump episode. Unfortunately, like I said, things just got away from us, and that's not what ended up happening. So we are here to discuss a film from just a couple of years ago. It came out in 2022. This is an Indian Hindi language comedy drama directed by Advait Chandan. And let's see, the music was done by Tanuj Tiku with songs by Preetham. I apologize to anybody in the community who can tell how badly I'm butchering these. I do my best. But this is a film called Laal Singh Chaddha. And the reason we wanted this to come out right after Forrest Gump is because it is basically the Indian version of Forrest Gump.
Yeah, it's a retelling.
It tells a very similar story about a young man named Laal, himself Laal Singh Chaddha.
Yeah.
And I didn't get into the cast. It stars Amir Khan again.
He's the go. Okay.
Here's the thing. We have now watched. Is it three?
Yes.
Three
Lagan,
Indian films, and
3
they've all starred
and
Amir
this.
Khan. I will say we have at least one more Indian film on the list, and as far as I can tell, Amir Khan has nothing to do with it.
Watch, it's gonna be a cameo.
Right, jeez. But yeah,
somewhere in the credits.
Yeah, Amir Khan, Kareena Kapoor Khan, not as far as I know, no relation between the two of them. They just have the same last name. Naga Chaitanya and Mona Singh and Manav Vij, and many more. But yeah, so like I said, this very much follows the template of Forrest Gump. So if you decide to watch it, and I don't feel like I'm speaking just for myself. I think that we wholeheartedly suggest that you do.
Definitely.
I don't think that you're going to find it boring personally, and we can talk more about this as we go along. I prefer this version
me too.
to Forrest Gump. A lot of the issues that I have with Forrest Gump, I think that this film handles much better. I think that it's more thoughtful in what it presents and the messages that it conveys. I personally, I really enjoy this version of the film. But I will say, anybody that has seen Forrest Gump, as you watch this film, and it's easy to find. It's actually on Netflix.
Yeah.
But as you watch this film, it will seem very familiar. Obviously, they change certain aspects of the Forrest Gump story that just don't work for Indian culture, such as the Bubba equivalent character, which in this in this version his name is Bala. But instead of being obsessed with shrimp, he is obsessed with making men's undergarments. There's some other parallels that we will talk about as we kind of break this down. The Jenny equivalent in this is named Rupa, played by Kareena Kapoor Khan. And I think kind of the best way to do this is as we introduce cast members, then we can break down their part of the plot.
Yes.
Because, like I said, there's very much equivalence to characters from Forrest Gump. I don't know about you. I really enjoy the version of this relationship as opposed to the Forrest Jenny relationship.
Yeah, me too.
I feel the thing about, and I remember having this discussion when I watched this movie with some friends. The thing about the relationship between Forrest and Jenny is, even in the kindest light that you see it, there's very much the read that she never really embraced Forrest.
Yeah.
Until she had a kid. And so it does kind of, I've heard people just flat out claim she was using him. I think there's much more nuance to it than that. I think that honestly, she didn't know what she wanted, and she had a hard time allowing herself. I don't want to say allowing herself to be happy, because I honestly don't think Jenny ever was happy with Forrest. I think that she recognized that he was safer for her than every. Whereas I think the difference here is I genuinely feel that Rupa loved Laal.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the only thing that held her back is that she didn't feel like he would get her to the place that she needed to be. Because one of the things that I appreciate about this is that Rupa, from a very young age, it's instilled in her that partially because it's similar as it is with Jenny, that there's issues with the parents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Although we never meet Jenny's mom. Rupa's mom is actually killed by her dad when she's very young. And it's all has to do with a disagreement about money. And so it is imparted to a young Rupa that money is the most important thing. And I think the only reason that she doesn't settle down with Laal earlier is because of that promise of money.
Yeah.
She feels like she needs to be with rich, powerful men in order to be not happy, but safe. I think that's what she's... unfortunately, in this version, she ends up getting herself mixed up in a crime lord situation.
Yeah.
But I will say I also like the way that is used, because the whole thing with Jenny is, she lives with Forrest for a while, and then all of a sudden one night she has sex with him and then leaves.
Yeah.
For no discernible reason. But here with Rupa, she has a similar arc, but we understand fully why she leaves.
Yes.
Because she gets tracked down basically by, I think it's the government at that point, to testify against her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then she ends up having to serve a prison sentence. So that's what took her away from Laal. It wasn't, she just randomly decided, you know what? I'm not going to live in this guy's house anymore. It was, I'm actually happy here, but I made this mess that I now need to go clean up.
Yeah.
I really actually liked that angle for this, for that relationship. And I mean, I just think that the performances there were just solid. It's really hard not to root for them.
Yeah.
But then like I said, we have Naga Chaitanya as Bala, who, like I said, is the Bubba equivalent. And I will say that I've always kind of been curious about the choice behind Bubba's protruding lip, because it really feels comical, and the thing with Bala, he does kind of hold his mouth in a very strict, but he doesn't have any sort of prosthetic, or there's nothing really comical about him. You do get the sense that he's probably neurodivergent. But it's not played comically. He's just a person and this is how he acts.
Yeah.
Honestly, similar to the way Laal is portrayed. He's just a person. He is a very naive person, to the point we haven't talked a whole lot about the way that Laal is portrayed. But, I love, we talked earlier about, in Forrest Gump, he's sitting on a park bench with a rotating with a rotating slew of people listening
Yeah.
to bits and pieces of his story, whereas Laal is in a train compartment
Uh-huh.
sharing his entire story up until he reunites with Rupa to the same group of people. There are one or two that go in and out, but for the most part, it's the same group of people.
I like that.
The whole time. Yeah. And so you get to watch them experience the highs and lows, and they're also invested in this story. Whereas, poor Forrest or poor people that are randomly walking into this guy's story, which he is just telling.
Yeah.
And not to say, yes, I have definitely encountered people that are just like that, but there's something so much more engaging about a group of people, who sit down and just think that this innocent, naive guy is randomly telling them a story, and then all of a sudden, and they're kind of ignoring it, but the more they listen to, the more interesting it becomes. And, whereas there's not as much of the joke of, oh, he was involved in this important thing and this important thing. Are there those things? Yes, there are.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily recognize them as much simply because it's from a different culture.
Yeah.
But we can still acknowledge that that's the joke. That's what the angle that they're going for. But they're mentioning a lot more of, conflicts and wars and things that were happening in India. And I love the bit because there's a lot of things that end up actually affecting Laal without him realizing it.
Yeah.
Basically, his mother cuts his hair, which he was raised Sikh, and as a Sikh, you're not supposed to do that. She literally did that to save his life.
Yeah.
That's such an impactful scene.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And also, before we get too far,
yeah,
from it with the train scene, with the storytelling lighting on that whole scene,
yeah,
but also from his perspective, it's the progression of the story is so much more fulfilling, especially for the passengers on the train, because they're getting to see the full thing. It's not a bunch of pieces to random people who don't get just random bits, and they're like, what the hell happened at these other parts? Even if they do care.
I was about to say, I think the way that it's portrayed in Forrest Gump, sorry, I'm halfway across the room, but I think the way that it's portrayed in Forrest Gump is that most of these people don't care. There are like one or two that are nice enough to participate in a bit here and there, but for the most part, nobody seems invested in his story. Whereas with Laal, he's got a whole, train compartment of people who are following this story, and it adds something to the investment. Not just for them, but for us. Sorry, I'm trying currently to plug in my computer. But yeah, one of the things that comes of, him all of these things happening in India at the time is his mother obviously wants to keep him safe.
Yes.
So every time there is an outbreak of violence, she tells him that it's an outbreak of malaria. So he needs to stay inside. And to the point where while he's in college, she randomly calls him and tells him, malaria, you need to stay inside. And so he will refuse to go to classes, refuse to take part in track meets because mom said there's malaria. But again, these things are endearing. They're not, poking fun at him or anything like that. And, the same thing with the character Bala. Like I said, he's a very interesting person, and his obsession with undergarments is certainly unique. But, apparently He's very good at making them. And then he teaches his trade to Laal, and Laal ends up, just like with Bubba, Bala dies. Laal ends up taking that over and makes it into a huge company and all this kind of stuff. So, like I said, very similar things. The character I want to talk about next is the character that, in my opinion, is one of the most interesting changes that they make to this story. And that is the Lieutenant Dan surrogate. In this is a character played by Manav Vij, and the character is Muhammad Yaqub, aka Muhammad Paji, who actually was a Pakistani soldier who actually, Laal doesn't know it when he saves him, but he was actually the commanding the commanding officer on the other side. And basically this was like a religious the people that don't think the way that we do need to be wiped out type of thing. And through Laal's generosity and kindness and just the nature of him not understanding why he shouldn't be kind to this man, it really affects Paji. And just like the Lieutenant Dan character, he loses his legs and all that stuff, but he also eventually becomes Laal's business partner and helps him get his undergarment business off the ground, and basically is very responsible for making his company successful. And basically, and this is another thing that I really like, another twist that I really like, is he ends up deciding, he's like, I was taught to hate people like you. And there are tons of children in my country right now being taught the same thing. I need to go and I need to teach them about people like you.
I really like
it's such a beautiful, I mean, could that also be construed as naive? A little bit. I mean, not to say that somebody like him couldn't exist, but they would, unfortunately, we don't see a lot of his path after that. I imagine he would have met a lot of resistance. Probably would have had his life threatened on several occasions. But honestly, knowing that makes that even more admirable.
And the fact that, like, in that little video call scene towards the end, we see him happy with all the kids and stuff. I think it did end up going fairly well for him.
Right. Like I said, we don't see all of the issues, the difficulties he would have come against. We're either meant to not think about those or assume that they were overcome. Again, that part of it's a little naive, but I'm willing to forgive that. But yeah, I mean, and there's a lot of other characters in here that I'm not really going to go into, but I really enjoy this version of the story. And to me, like I said, it opens up a new view to the story, and one that I think is better. I mean, I do prefer it.
I do too.
But I think that it's important to see different views of familiar stories.
Yeah.
Because, it's that familiarity can bring us in, but then we learn something new about different perspectives.
Yeah, I do really enjoy that.
So
I also just like Hindi culture.
Sure.
I did another one of the things they changed kind of was his namesake, which made so much more sense here.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I
it
mean, it
lined
was
up
just
way
it was just a
better.
family name.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes so much. I mean, honestly, I wish they'd done something like that in Forrest Gump, saying that he was named after the guy that created the KKK. It just opens up way too many questions that they're never going to be willing to answer.
Nope.
And the explanation is piss poor.
Yeah.
It just, silliness. But yeah, I mean, is there anything else in particular you want to mention about this? I mean, I will say I'd like to just mention the music.
The music was good. I don't remember it as much. I don't remember a whole lot.
Sure. I mean, I will say this is not a traditional Indian film. If you are waiting for a song and dance, you're not going to get it in the traditional sense. You are going to get songs, but they're going to be more background. They're not going to be as diegetic to the story.
Works really well, though.
It does. I mean, obviously it is, but like, we were talking about before we started recording, they took the running scene in Forrest Gump, which in Forrest Gump, to be fair, I mean, yes, there are some kind of growth elements for Forrest. He takes off after Jenny leaves unexpectedly. And it's the same thing here with Laal. But in Forrest Gump, once we get past the reason that Forrest doesn't really even know why he's running, but we ascribe more of a reason to it. Once we get past that whole sequence is really more of a joke than anything. It's really kind of, or at least it's a space for lots of little silly jokes. Whereas this one, some of those do come towards the end of that, but it starts off with just this. It feels very, I said to you, spiritual.
Yeah.
It has that kind of feeling because we see images of him running across the landscape of India, which is beautiful. And then this, great Indian music in the background with lyrics and everything. It's just, it just really elevates it, in my opinion.
The little character arc that he has there is really nice. It's sort of reinvention.
Yeah, well, and it's not even spoken.
No,
they just allow that to live
so
for a bit. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's really all I wanted to say about that. So that's all I got to say about that. So yeah, I will say make sure that you are checking out. It's been a while since I've done this, folks. Sorry. You can contact us at the Flying Cow Pod on all of our socials. You can even email at theflyingcowpod@gmail.com. Let us know how you're enjoying the podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, all those things. Leave comments, concerns, questions, whatever it might be. And we will be back with a regular old episode. I will go ahead and we'll probably explain it at the top of the next regular episode.
Yeah.
But we ended up changing our plan. The original plan was to we had spun the wheel and we had landed on Stand By Me.
Yep.
However, it's been 2 months and we still haven't watched Stand By Me. What we did watch, because it randomly popped up in theaters, was Dirty Dancing. So in the next episode, we will be talking about Dirty Dancing, and we'll get to Stand By Me at some point.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll
Definitely.
figure that out. Like I said, we will be back next time with a regular episode. But until that time, moo.